Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. And also, the Search for the Ancient Bauble Kickstarter has launched, so make sure you go check that out. The Kickstarter campaign will last for 30 days, and after that, the playmat will no longer be available for purchase. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. Today's episode comes to you courtesy of Hunter, who's been supporting this channel as a general tier patron. I truly couldn't do this without the support from amazing patrons like Hunter, so again, Hunter, thank you so much. And for the personalized deck tech, Hunter chose Taigam Ojutai Master with a focus on giving him evasion so he can swing safely, then generating tons of advantage by giving instants and sorceries rebound. Taigam is a 3/4 human monk that costs 2 white-blue. He has instant sorcery, and dragon spells you control can't be countered by spells or abilities. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, if Taigam Ojutai Master attack this turn, that spell gains rebound. So Taigam can completely protect our instant and sorcery spells. And on top of that, simply by attacking, we can double those spells up. Rebound means that we're going to exile the spell as it resolves, and at the beginning of our next upkeep, we can cast the card from exile without paying its mana cost. So we essentially pay for a spell once, but we get to cast it twice. So yeah, there's a lot of powerful things that we can do with this commander, so let's jump into it. So first up, let's talk about some ways that we can ensure that Taigam survives combat, because yeah, Taigam doesn't have any evasion on his own. So we're going to be running some things like Cliffhaven Kitesail, Zephyr Boots, and Key to the City. Cliffhaven Kitesail says when it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control and equip creature as flying. So giving Taigam flying is generally going to be able to get him through on at least one of our opponents. It's not perfect evasion, but it's usually going to get the job done for us. So in a similar way, we're also running Zephyr Boots. Zephyr Boots says, equip creature as flying, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. So again, this lets Taigam swing through safely on most opponents, and on top of that, when he hits, we get to loot. And while looting isn't card advantage, it is card selection, and that can really help us out throughout the game. And speaking of evasion and card selection, there's Key to the City. It has tap, discard a card, up to 1 target creature can't be blocked this turn, and whenever Key to the City becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. So this can get Taigam through every single time by making him unblockable. And on top of that, we can replace the card that we had to discard by just paying 2. So it's kind of like a delayed rummage effect as well. But some other ways to get Taigam through come with cards like Sajiri Shelter and Akroma's Blessing. Sajiri Shelter is an MDFC that says target creature you control gets protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. So this can protect Taigam from a lot of things, and it can usually get him through on an attack. And then Akroma's Blessing says creatures you control gain protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. So this can protect our entire team and not just Taigam. And again, since we can attack with Taigam and then cast it, we can get these rebound as well. And then there's Niblis of Frost, which is a fantastic card in this deck. It says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, tap target creature an opponent controls, that creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Again, with this deck, we're going to be casting a ton of instants and sorceries, including the ones that we're getting from rebound. So now we can use those spells to tap down our opponent's creatures to not only protect ourselves, but also to protect our commander and get him through. And also, this can actually hit pretty hard as well because it's got flying and prowess. So that's a nice benefit as well. But speaking of nice benefits, what kinds of spells are we hoping to double up on? So first up, let's talk about some cards like Opt, See the Truth, and Treasure Cruise. A simple card like Opt can be a fantastic card in this deck. It's an instant for just a blue, and it says scry 1, draw a card. So again, when we attack with Taigam, we can give this rebound, and essentially we get it twice. And scrying 1 twice and drawing 2 cards is a fantastic thing for just 1 mana. But an even better card with Taigam is See the Truth. It says look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of those cards in your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And if this spell was cast from anywhere other than your hand, put each of those cards into your hand instead. So when we actually cast this from our hand, we get 1 card out of the top 3. But when we cast it from exile thanks to rebound, we straight up draw 3 cards. So yeah, 2 mana to draw 4 is incredible. And then how about Treasure Cruise, a sorcery for 7 in a blue that has Delve and it says draw 3 cards. With all the spells we're going to be casting in this deck, we can easily delve this down to a much more reasonable amount. So if we get it all the way down and we can cast it for a blue, we're going to be drawing 3 cards for just 1 mana. And then again, thanks to Rebound, we get another 3 cards for free. And 1 mana for 6 cards is absolutely absurd. Yeah, Taigam can do some really powerful things in a deck like this. And in this deck, we can generate a ton of value from things like Shramm's Expertise and Baral's Expertise. Shramm's Expertise says create 3 1/1 color servo artifact creature tokens. You may cast a card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So we essentially get 2 spells out of this just at face value. And thanks to our commander, if we give this Rebound, we get even more value. We cast Shramm's Expertise twice, so we get 6 servos. And then on top of that, we can cast 2 cards from our hand for free that cost 3 or less. So for 4 mana, we get to cast essentially 4 spells. Or I guess I should say we kinda get to cast 6 spells because those spells that we cast for free are also getting Rebound. So yeah, I guess as long as they're instant or sorceries. Anyways, you know what I mean. And then the same can be said for Baral's Expertise, which is a 5 mana spell, which is very similar. It says return up to 3 target artifacts and or creatures from the owner's hands, and you may cast a card with converted mana cost 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So we can bounce a ton of things and get an absurd amount of value from this. And speaking of value, of course, we can double up on our spells as well with something like Swarm Intelligence. It says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may copy that spell. You may choose 2 targets for the copy. Again, rebounding a spell is still casting it, we're just casting it from exile. So with this in play, and when we attack with Taigam, every single time we cast 1 instant or sorcery, we essentially get it 4 times. That's pretty crazy. And of course, we can make our spells even more efficient with something like Jace's Sanctum. It says instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, scry 1. So this can reduce the cost of our spells and also give us some great card selection when we're casting them. And speaking of card selection, we've also got Windrider Wizard. It says whenever you cast an instant, sorcery, or wizard spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. So again, throughout the game, this can provide us a ton of card selection, helping us ditch dead cards in our hand. And then there's Vega the Watcher, which can just straight up generate us a ton of card advantage. It says whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, draw a card. Again, when we rebound a spell, we're casting them from exile, so we're going to be getting a lot of cards drawn from this. And speaking of drawing a lot of cards, there's Archmage Emeritus. It says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. So again, thanks to Rebound, essentially anytime we cast an instant or sorcery, we're going to be drawing 2 from this. Now, generating all this value is great, but how do we actually win? Let's start off by setting ourselves up to win with an extra turn spell like Walk the Aeons. It has buyback, sacrifice 3 islands, and target player takes an extra turn after this one. So, thanks to Rebound again, we are getting this twice, and 2 extra turns is usually going to be enough for us to win. And if not, maybe we can sacrifice 3 islands and do it again. We can also create a massive token army with something like Rise from the Tides. It says create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token for each instant sorcery card in your graveyard. And of course, there's always the option to finish opponents off with Approach of the Second Sun. It says if it was cast from your hand and you've cast another spell named Approach from the Second Sun this game, you win the game. Otherwise, put Approach of the Second Sun into its owner's library, 7 from the top, and you gain 7 life. Now, unfortunately, Rebound won't help us just win the game with this card. That being said, again, there are plenty of ways for us to draw an absurd amount of cards in this deck, so we can get this card back in absolutely no time and cast it again to win. And if we need to, we can utilize a tutor like Solve the Equation to get a fantastic card like this one to win. It says search your library for an instant or sorcery card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. But perhaps an even better tutor in this deck is Idyllic Tutor, which says search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. And the reason that it's probably better is that it can get us the Golden Pig of this deck, which is the #1 card out of our 99. And the Golden Pig for this deck is Dovescape. Dovescape is an enchantment for 3 Azorius, Azorius, Azorius. It says whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, counter that spell, that player creates X 1/1 white and blue bird creature tokens with flying, where X of that spell's converted mana cost. So this card is essentially Taigam's best friend, because even though this is going to counter our non-creature spells, with Taigam in play, well, our instants and sorceries can't be countered. So whenever we cast an instant or sorcery spell, we still get that spell, and we also get birds, whereas our opponents just get birds. This card is incredibly hard to deal with once it's down, because the vast majority of removal for it is probably going to be non-creature spells. So good luck to our opponents trying to stop us from there. All their non-creature spells get countered and ours still go through. So yeah, this can be incredibly brutal and effective with Taigam, and that's why it's the golden pig. And of course, we've also got other ways to create tokens as well to take over the game with things like Murmuring Mystic, Talrin Sky Summoner, and Dika Fractal Theorist. Murmuring Mystic says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 blue bird illusion creature token with flying. And then Talrin does the exact same thing, except it makes us a 2/2 blue drake with flying. And then Dika is somewhat similar, but she also counts when we copy instants and sorceries as well. So whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, we get a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, and we get X counters on it where X that spell's mana value. And you know we can also pay 3 and a blue, and target creature token can't be blocked this turn. So yeah, there are a lot of ways to win in a deck like this. But now it's time for me to give you my final thoughts on this commander. Taigam can not only protect your spells, but it can also provide you an absurd amount of value throughout the game. Again, there are some absolutely crazy things that you can do with a deck like this, and Dovescape is just one of them. Just a very efficient, brutal one of them. So yeah, suit Taigam up with some equipment, get him through, and get going. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again and have a good one.